Our very familiar factoring technique with the greatest common factor gives us an option when solving an equation where the variable that we are interested in appears twice. Now, this is the equation for, or the formula, excuse me, for the surface area of a rectangular prism. And our objective is going to be to solve for W. And we should notice right from the beginning that there are two instances of the variable W, once with the 2 in the L and once with the 2 in the H. In order to solve an equation, a literal equation that has the variable in it more than once, factoring allows us the opportunity to take those two instances of the variable and turn them into only one instance of the variable. Now, in order to do that, we'd have to isolate not the variable, but the products that contain the variable all need to be on the same side. Now, we are fortunate in that they already kind of are. Here's the 2LW, here's the 2HW, already on the same side of the equal sign. But in order to get this strategy to work, they need to be the only products that are there. So our first step is going to be to move the 2HL over to the other side of the equation with the A. And we have 2LW and 2HW. It's at this point that we're able to use factoring to simplify the right-hand side a little bit so that we can pull out the W. We're going to leave the left-hand side the way that it is, and we're going to factor out a W from the right-hand side, leaving 2L plus 2H. Now, depending upon the circumstances, you may want to remove the 2 also, but that just creates an extra step of division that we're going to have to worry about. I'm just going to leave it alone for right now. Here is the W that we are trying to solve for. We have turned the 2 W's into 1 W through factoring, and that W is being multiplied by this entire factor, 2L plus 2H. Well, since W is what we're looking for and 2L plus 2H is the factor that's being multiplied by it, we can simply divide this whole side by 2L plus 2H, knocking out that entire factor and doing the same thing to the left-hand side. So we get a final version of W equals A minus 2HL, the 2HL that came from the original equation, or the original formula, over 2L plus 2H, the factor formed by removing W as the greatest common factor. Now, can you get creative with the way that you write this? Sure, you could cancel out all of these 2's if you wanted to, and then put a half here and say half A minus HL over L plus H. If you wanted to simplify out all the 2's, you could do that and leave a fraction in front of the A. You could change it to a 0.5 if you prefer the look of the decimal. But we're at the point where we're just looking to get this manipulated into a way where W is by itself, and on the right-hand side are all of those extra terms and factors. We were able to do that for this example by moving the W out to the front in a reverse distributive property factoring the greatest common factor application. Let's try another example. This one's a little bit tougher because the A's that we're looking to solve for, which are right here and right here, are starting out on opposite sides of the equation. That shouldn't change our work for the objective. The objective is to still get them onto the same side so that we can factor them and move. That's just going to require a little bit of extra legwork at the beginning. So let's get 5A minus C. We're going to leave that alone temporarily, and we're going to distribute out the right-hand side so that we're able to move some terms around. Let's take away the 3AB so we can push the A to the left-hand side with the 5A. But at the same time, remember, I don't want anything that doesn't have an A over here. So I'm going to kick the C over to the right. So this serves a couple of different purposes. It's going to get rid of this term, and it's going to get rid of this part of the expression on the left-hand side, leaving me with 5A minus 3AB is equal to 2B plus C. Now, because the A's are on the same side of the equal sign, and the only terms that are on that left side have an A in them, I can factor that A from the left-hand side equal to the right-hand side. And then I divide that entire factor, just like we did in the last example, leaving me with A equals 2B plus C over 5 minus 3B. Again, A started on different sides. Not a big deal. Get them onto the same side. Leave those as the only two factors, or if there were three of them, the only three terms that are on that side. Factor out that common factor of the A. Don't necessarily stress yourself out. If there's other common factors, they're just going to get divided away as well. But when you see those two instances of the variable, you need them on the same side so that you can use that factoring to create one instance of the variable.